El exec, el exec, el exec. El Vélez, el Vélez, el Vélez. El fenómeno que todos quieren ser. El chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 176 of the Exec Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Velez, the exec. Wasa. All right. A lot to get to. Racing, Champions League, NFL free agency, NFL signings, NFL cuts, big signings, big people moving, the combine. Who impressed? What is it looking like? LeBron hits 50K. Curry 8-1 with Jimmy Butler. OKC underrated. SGA MVP lock. The West is murky after OKC. Formula One begins in Melbourne at the Australian Grand Prix this weekend. NASCAR at Phoenix this weekend. We're going to talk about COTA and how that went. One thing I forgot about last week that I found out on Sunday, IndyCar, saw that race at St. Pete. We're going to talk about that. Kyrie out for the season, torn ACL. We're going to call that Mavs karma. That Roki Sasaki debut in spring training, absolutely incredible. And whatever we find along the way. So let's start with we'll start from Saturday on. Quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs. Running back group was really special. Omarion Hampton, Ashton Genty did not work out. Omarion did. Omarion had a good run. Everybody ran well. It was the fastest running back group in the history of the combine since it's been televised since 2003. It was the fastest combine of any combine ever, just by average speed in every position group. So a lot of fast people coming into the league. A lot of the top players did not work out. Shador, Cam Ward, Ashton Genty, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Mason Graham, a lot more of the DNs and D tackles and stuff like that. Some of the corners, Will Johnson, of course, Travis. I don't think I saw Xavier Watts from Notre Dame. I don't think I saw him. So it was mostly focused on the guys that come after those dudes. And one guy who I talked about and I saw at Texas, and I knew he was good, especially at the end of the season and in the playoffs, Matthew Golden. His teammate, Isaiah Bond, former Alabama Crimson Tide, said he was going to run a 4.21 and beat Xavier Worthy's record. Not only did he not run a 4.21, he was not the fastest Texas wide receiver. That was Matthew Golden. Bond was not slow. He ran a 4.40, which is good, but it's not a 4.21. It's not even 4.3. Matthew Golden went 4.29. He can route run. He had a wonderful workout. A lot of these receivers had a wonderful workout. Terrell McMillan did not work out or run. The second wide receiver, according to everybody. Both Cyclones, Jalen Noel, Jaden Higgins, awesome workouts. Jalen Royal from Kansas State, awesome workout. Isaiah Bond had a good workout. I think Golden had a better one. Trey Harris from Ole Miss ran well for his size. Had a good workout. yeah, so everybody had a good workout except Tez Johnson ran slow. He ran a 4.5. People were thinking he was going to run sub 4.4. Close to maybe sub 4.3. So that was very surprising, but his workout was good. Mason Taylor, the tight end, Tyler Warren did not work out. Neither did Colston Loveland. But Mason Taylor, Jason Taylor, the legend, son, Joy Taylor's nephew, he ran the most perfect gauntlet you've ever seen. Straight down the line, no dropping of balls, no nothing, no deviating from the line. So he had a very good workout, probably cemented himself as tight end number 3. But other than that, because the top of the top guys, especially quarterback, it gave, Tyler Shuck a chance to shine. Kyle McCord. Jackson Dart was probably the best performer out of the quarterbacks, I would say. Jalen Milroe still showed inconsistency in his accuracy, but he has a cannon. And he didn't run. Don't know why he wouldn't run. He would have put people on notice. But he didn't run. So we're hoping for the pro day. Probably maybe high 4.3s, 4.38, 4.39 is what I'm thinking, because everybody at Alabama said he was the fastest at the school. So, but a lot less interesting than other years when you remember a Calvin Johnson run, a Saquon run, a CJ2K run, even, recently Jahmyr Gibbs, the Ohio State guys ran well. Travion went 4.3. Judkins went a high 4.4, if not a low 4.5. But I believe he ran a 4.4. The guy from RJ Harvey kind of surprised me because I saw him in college at UCF. He didn't look that fast, but he ran a 4.4. Like, really good time for him. Omarion Hampton ran 4.4. Just speedsters all over. Other than that, that was the combine. The thing that came out the combine was unfortunately nothing based on the field. Anonymous quarterbacks coach said Shador was arrogant and like brash. It's like, listen, bro. What? You hating, bro. You hating. You're the only person to say that. Nobody else that Daniel Jeremiah has talked to, Mike Tannenbaum, Ian Rappaport, Shefty, people in the building. Nobody has said that. Everybody said that he's a good kid. He's a football intelligent. Yes, his dad is Deion, primetime Sanders. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? He's going to have the mentality of, I got to be the best. I am the best. If your quarterback doesn't have that type of confidence, then I don't want you. If I'm like, I think I can, it's possible. What type of leader is that? It's not one. That's why I stand by Shador. He's confident. He got raised by Deion Sanders. He has to be. That's how he was raised. And if you don't want that in your quarterback, then unfortunately, I guess you're the Jets. I guess you're the Giants. Even though I think the Giants possibly fix that. Possibly. Depending what Tennessee Titans do. According to Dan Orlovsky, another thing that came out of the combine, and this is across the board as well from all the insiders, all the the former players that cover it, Louis Riddick and all that. Cam Ward is the distinguished number one quarterback in this draft, and it's not particularly close. Dan Orlovsky not only likes the creativity of Cam Ward, but he's really impressed about how he plays in the pocket. He gets on that back foot after a 3 or 5 step drop and lets that ball go, makes a decision quick. I like that too about him, but I think the creativity aspect and the mobility outside the pocket is what gives him that extra edge for me, as of course with the arm strength and all that being more than Shedeur. That doesn't mean Shedeur is super far behind, even though there was conversations. Maybe Jackson Dart goes as a second quarterback, but I think that's all quelled at this point. The last I heard about that was Monday, that it wasn't clear if Shedeur was QB2. I think that is debunked at this point. I think he will be QB2. I think he goes to the Raiders, if not the Giants. Now, the thing is that Tennessee has a dilemma. Tennessee has to pick between 3 players. They're not trading the pick. I do not think that, unless they get wowed by a trade offer, by a trade package, they're not trading the pick. They're going one of 3 options. They're taking the best defensive player in the draft, Abdul Carter, to give him a Michael Parsons type of elite talent on the edge. They're taking Cam Ward and, plug him in at quarterback. Or they're going Travis Hunter. That's it. Nothing. There's nowhere else they can go. They have the first domino and the biggest domino, because after that, I believe the Giants, if Cam Ward is there, they take him. I do not believe they're going after Sam Darnold. They tried to go after Stafford. That didn't work. So in my humble opinion, I think Tennessee goes Cam Ward. I think they're done with Will Levis. I think Cam Ward is enough of a talent that you can take him number 1 and be secure in the pick. He's very intelligent. Great leader, according to everybody that knows him. Coaches, former players, teammates, everything that came out of the interviews from the combine distinguished himself as the top guy. Knows how to face adversity. Came from a 0-star at Incarnate Ward to Washington State to UM. Elevated every single program as he went up in competition. So he knows he's a hard worker. He elevates with the people around him and elevates people all around him. So I think Cam Ward should go number 1. After that, it's because as soon as Abdul Carter makes it to number 2, every single pick after that, whether it's the Giants, the Raiders, the Patriots, every single one after that is gonna ask themselves, do I take Travis Hunter or do I take Abdul Carter? Every single team's going to ask themselves that. Until you get to the Raiders, unless the Giants, we have to wait to Pro Day. The reason I say we have to wait to Pro Day to be really sure about how the draft might go is because Pro Day, you'll see Shedeur run. You'll see Shedeur throw. Jimmy Horn had a good workout as well. He ran pretty well as well. You'll see Cam throw. You'll see Cam run. You'll see Jalen run. That can throw a wrench into things. You'll see Jackson Dart run. That is you see Ashton Genty run. He didn't run. That's still a question mark. Where's his speed at? If his speed is in the low 4s or high 4.3s, he will be a top 12 pick. possibly a top 10. Will Johnson, the corner, Tetairoa McMillan, Mason Graham. I mean, all these guys can up their stock. But the guy who can up his stock the most is Shedeur Sanders. Cam is a bona fide number one pick, according to everybody. Travis is a bona fide number one pick, and so is Abdul Carter. Travis can run a 4.32. Abdul Carter can run a 4.35. Cam Ward can run a 4.45. It will not change the fact that they could go number one. Okay? It will not change the fact. The guys who could help themselves, Tetairoa McMillan, an Ashton Genty, a Mason Graham, a Shedeur, a Jalen Walker from Georgia. James Pierce helped himself a lot. He will be a top 15 pick, I think. The Tennessee D-end. He ran like a 4.4 at the end. Okay, so that speed is Nolan Smith ran a 4.3, but that's Hassan Reddick, Micah, that type of speedy edge rusher with some bend. Other than that, if we get to the early free agency signings, the biggest one so far, besides the re-signing of Max Crosby, okay? Besides the re-signing of Max Crosby, Zach Bond goes from 1-year deal off of the practice squad in New Orleans to an all-pro season, a Super Bowl, and a 3-year, $51 million contract with $34 million guaranteed and $34 million guaranteed at signing and an additional $1.5 million incentives and escalators. One of the highest paid linebackers in the league immediately. Next, why did they do that? Because they found their linebacker of the future alongside Nakobe Dean when he gets back from his injury this upcoming season. That's why they did it. Max Crosby, 3-year, $106.5 million that include $91.5 million guaranteed, highest paid non-QB in NFL history for the 4-time Pro Bowler. Highest paid. So he passes Chris Jones. That's probably going to get broken again by probably Jamar Chase. Yeah. Probably Jamar Chase breaks that. Or the extension that Myles Garrett the contract Myles Garrett gets after he gets traded, which I think he will eventually. So, what happened today? Seahawks, DK, asked for a trade. Chiefs traded Joe Thuney to the Bears for a 4th-round pick in 2026. The number one left guard in the league and the guy that they turned into a left tackle at the end of the season, they didn't want to extend him. It would have cost too much. So they let the Hall of Famer walk out the door. For a 4th-round pick to the Bears, give him to Caleb Williams. At least they didn't trade him into the AFC. That would have been horrible. But that shores up that left side, that left interior for Caleb. Seahawks cut Tyler Lockett. He's going to be an addition for somebody. I could see him maybe Kansas City. I could see him. I could see him with the Dolphins. Patriots are out there, of course. The Pittsburgh Steelers are out there. I could definitely see one of those teams. Maybe the Commanders want to add him to what they got with Debo. Yes, Debo is a Commander. He got traded for a 5th-round pick during the Combine. I think it adds a great. They're the number one screening team in the NFL. Get one of the best screen pass catchers and yak guys in the last 5-6 years. And hopefully he gets back to the level that he was. I have no doubt that he will, especially alongside a guy like Terry McLaurin. And I think they're going to add one more guy. I don't know if it's a T. Higgins because he got franchise tagged and they have to work out a deal. If not, I believe somebody's going to offer T. Higgins a big 30 to $35 million deal. Jaguars cut Christian Kirk, another guy. Steelers, Chiefs, Dolphins, Commanders, Tennessee, the Saints, I could see him going. Raiders will cut Gardner Minshew out of there. He's not going, I don't think. I mean, he is the slim pickings of slim pickings at the end of QB free agency for sure. And then the Bengals, Sam Hubbard, he retires, so they need to fill that edge need. What are they going to do there? You don't have much money. You have to pay Jamar, pay Trey, try to pay T. You got to draft. Got to draft well, maybe trade up, something like that. Raiders sign Alex Kappa, the guard from formerly the Bengals. They gave him a 2-year, $11 million deal. Saquon, they gave him 2 years, $41.2 million contract extension. He's the highest running back paid in NFL history. I think you're going to see this more often with young running backs. He's young. He's 27, so this doesn't surprise me after winning a Super Bowl and going for 2,000 yards. Devontae Adams got released by the Jets. Another one. Chiefs, Commanders, possibly back to the Packers to add some maturity to that wide receiver room. I could see a team like the Jaguars pair him up with Brian Thomas Jr., wherever Aaron Rodgers goes, possibly. Maybe the Giants with Malik Neighbors. A lot of different places he could go. Maybe you send him with Marvin Harrison Jr. at Arizona. Maybe when Cooper Kupp gets traded out of the Rams, you bring him into the Rams. There's a lot of possibilities for Devontae Adams. I still think he could play at a high level. I'm not worried about him. His cap number is $38.2 million. That's why probably they released him. Jonah Jackson to the Chicago Bears. So they're beefing up that offensive line for Caleb with of course, Ben Johnson at the helm now. Ryan Poles is beefing up the offensive line for a 2025 sixth round pick. That's what the Rams got. James Bradbury got cut. Darius Slay got cut. He got released. Of course, you have Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell on either side. You don't need Darius Slay, essentially. So, and also, James Bradbury as well. So they both cut. Debo, Commanders, he was due $21.7 million. Obviously, 49ers didn't want to pay that. So Jaden Daniels gets another weapon, which he needed. The combine fastest 40s, Matthew Golden, 4.29. Chimeri DK from Florida, from UF. Gator ran a 4.38, had a good workout. He's going to go up some boards for sure. Ty Felton from Maryland, he went 4.37. Isaiah Bond went 4.39. Luther Burden, the excellent Missouri wide receiver, he went 4.41. Torrey Horton, the excellent Colorado State wide receiver, went 4.41 at a big size. He's like 6'3", almost 6'4". Elijah Badger, another UF, 4.43. Sam Brown, UM, 4.44. Elik from Stanford, Ayo Manor, 4.44. And Jimmy Horn went 4.46 from Colorado. So fast boys at the wide receiver position. So that's it for the deal so far. Of course, we still need what Sam Darnold's going to do. The biggest thing about Sam Darnold is that they did not franchise tag him. He is out of there. The JJ McCarthy era starts, and I'm so happy about it. Let this kid play. You saw him in preseason before the torn ACL. I believe he would have had, I don't know if he would have had a Jaden Daniels type of year, but I think he was in line to have that, a year like that. They would have made it to the playoffs, I believe, with him. So I'm excited to see the JJ McCarthy era with Jettas, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, and Aaron Jones. I want to see that. As well as, Jalen Naylor. Okay, so that's the NFL. T. Higgins did get franchise tagged. I said that already. All right, let's go to the NBA now. Or actually, we're going to talk about the NBA a little bit. So, Champions League. Real Madrid beats Atletico Madrid at the Bernabeu 2-1. The goals came from, a beautiful goal in like the 4th minute by Rodrigo. Just a wonderful goal. And then the next goal, which was by Brahim Diaz, was another absolute insane goal. Put it on his right foot and hit the post. And in Julian Alvarez scored for Atletico Madrid and tied it 1-1. And then Brahim scored to keep Modric on the bench for a little bit until they did make the change. Barca won today against Belgica. 1-0. Rafinha scored the goal in the 61st minute after Barca had a red card. And then the other games were, you have Inter Milan won 2-0 against Feyenoord. Benfica and Barcelona 1-0. Bayern beat Leverkusen 3-0. So Bayern's back to Champions League form. Liverpool beats PSG 1-0. Aston Villa beats Club Brugge 3-1. Dortmund ties with Lille. So that's going to come down to the second leg, 1-1. Real Madrid wins 2-1 against Atletico, and Arsenal puts PSV in an absolute blender, 7-1, with no Havertz. They were missing like 3 stars, and they still destroyed them. Timber scored a goal. Nwaneri scored a goal. Marino, Odegaard, Trossard, and Calafiori. 7 people scored 7 different goals. So Arsenal's looking really good. The next legs are the 11th and 12th of March. So we'll talk about that. And then Real Madrid controlled the ball for 75% of the game. They did have attacking positions, but then Atletico, after the first goal, really anchored down defensively, played great defense, was attacking, gained the momentum, and then in about the 60th minute of the second half is when Real started really attacking again. Mbappe got behind him a little bit. Rodrigo, Vinny had some good moves. Bellingham didn't play. Camavinga had some good passes. Valverde had a beautiful assist. And they won there. Barca, I expected them to win, but I thought there was going to be 3-4-0. If I'm being honest, I did not see 1-0 from Barca. Leverkusen, I thought would put up more of a fight. Bayern just 3-0'd them. They had a red card though in the 61st minute. Leverkusen. Harry Kane had 2 goals, the 9th and the 77th. 75th, on a penalty. And then Musiala, of course, Jamal, in the 54th. So that's champions. Now we go to IndyCar. Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. Really entertaining. Always nice to be on a street course at the beginning. Pole by Scott McLaughlin. Dominated for the first half of the race. Then pit stops happened. Giant crash at the beginning of the race. First like 2 laps in. First corner, actually, for like corner number 4 of the first lap. Giant crash. Took out some rookies. Took out Will Power. And then they got back rolling again. McLaughlin and Rosenquist were 1-2. And then the tire strategy happened. They had to run the ultra softs. You had to pick when you wanted to run the ultra softs. Palou started like in 11th and eventually won the race. And Scott Dixon got second with no radio communication. The Iceman got second. But the professor of precision, Alex Palou, just on beautiful strategic tire strategy fashion. Once he got to the front, he kept passing people by himself, and then in the pits, he had a great in lap, and then the out lap managed to pass Scott Dixon to put him in position with the best tires to go after Newgarden and Rosenquist kind of messed up in the pits and lost a lot of track position, and then they got in the shuffle with the tires. They didn't have a good tire strategy. The greens, the ultra softs were only lasting like 12 laps. Some people decided to go all the way to the end and then do their last stint on the greens. Other people decided to get the greens out of the way to just go blacks all the way. But just slowly but surely, you saw Palou climbing up the timing stand, and when it was all said and done, the 3-time world champ, ended it, and got to give it to him. The guy is absolutely incredible. Once he gets to the front, you're not going to catch him. Very seldom he gets caught. He likes to extend leads, and that's what he did. But a great start for Indy, having an Indy Penske versus Ganassi battle first track. And a great result for Ganassi, 1-2 at St. Pete. NASCAR was at COTA. Really exciting race. Came down to the end where Christopher Bell, a Toyota, after Chevy's dominated all day. Shane Van Gisbergen, AJ Allmendinger was up there. Reddick started on the pole and immediately went back. William Byron led a couple. You had Larson up there for a little bit, and then he got hit. Chastain was good, but then Christopher Bell and that Toyota, man, it's just Kyle Busch and SVG dominated the race. Kyle Busch dominated the race. And once SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen, got to the front, he was putting in some crazy laps. But, Christopher Bell on some good strategy, had the best tires at the end, the newest tires out of everybody, and then just kept picking them off little by little. Didn't use his tires a lot. Ran a really smart race, and he held off Kyle Busch at the end, William Byron, and Reddick, Tyler Reddick to win. And he goes back-to-back. He goes Atlanta last week, 2 weeks ago, and now he goes COTA. He's just stacking wins at this point, just like he did last year. I believe he had 4 wins last year. He really wants that championship, and he's looking like very, very strong this year in that 20 car. And it's the first time in the in a long time where in consecutive seasons that 20 car where we used to see Smoke, Tony Stewart dominate in is looking dominant once again. So shout out to Christopher Bell. They go to Phoenix next. Another Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin. Old guy track. I expect Chase Elliott. I expect Kyle Busch. I expect, Chris Buescher, of course. I think the Fords are going to be good. They're back on an oval. The Fords weren't that great on at the road course. It was mostly Chevy and Toyota. But Phoenix should be fun. All right, Formula One. Australian Grand Prix this weekend. We finally get to see Lewis Hamilton, Ferrari. We see Kimi Antonelli in a Mercedes. George Russell as the leading man of the Mercedes Silver Arrows. We get to see Max Verstappen with Liam Lawson at Red Bull. We get to see Jack Doohan, rookie. Hajar, rookie. Liam Lawson is going to be the first time he's racing for Red Bull, the main team. Kimi Antonelli, rookie. It's one more. Colapetto, the Formula 2 champion from last year, also a rookie. So we get to see them. We get to see what Aston Martin gets to do now that Adrian Newey is now in the fold. He is working with the team currently. Very excited for this weekend at Melbourne. Haven't started in Australia in a very long time. Really want to see where the pace is at. I think Lando will be the favorite. Oscar Piastri's home track. I expect them to be very strong, but I think that Lewis has a shot. Of course, Verstappen has a shot. Leclerc, and also George Russell, and maybe Kimi Antonelli. We'll see what the 18-year-old has in store for us. But I'm very excited for the Formula One season to kick off. Testing's great, but nothing better than racing and qualifying. So finally, we get back to racing in Formula One this weekend. All right, let's get to the NBA. LeBron hits 50,000 points for his career, including playoffs. Only player to ever do it. At this point, I don't hate on LeBron. I just don't like what he did in Miami, leaving the way he did, and also not showing up for the 2011 finals. I don't hate him like my dad. I respect just him. It's kind of like a messy type of thing with me and LeBron. I respect him. Same thing with Tom Brady. He's one of the greats. He's number 2 on my list. He will always be number 2. But 22 years of absolute peak play, an average of over 26, almost 27 over that career, over those 22 years, over 5 assists, over 5 rebounds, can shoot the 3 ball now, past the 50,000 on a 3 ball, came into the game with 49,999. He was just 1 point away, hit a 3 ball in the first quarter with like 9 minutes left. Luka and him. So that the 15,000 points is one thing, and I give him the respect for that. But the team, what the team is doing, they're second in the West now. This team went from 5th to 2nd. Luka's finding his legs. He scored 29 yesterday. LeBron scored 34. They're clicking. JJ Redick is possibly up for Coach of the Year along with Dagnall. And Kenny Atkinson in the Cavs. I am very intrigued by how the playoffs are going to show out. I'm gonna mix 3 of my points about the NBA into one because I have 3 points right here. And it's all about the West. Okay, the East is kind of, is anybody going to beat Boston? Are the Cavs good enough to beat Boston? Can they beat Boston in a 7-game series? That's what it kind of comes down to. Every other, besides the Bucks, I don't see anybody really competing. I'm just being honest. It's kind of like, can Boston make it at this point? Well, the West is a lot more exciting. It's murky. It's OKC, which is they're underrated. They're underrated. They're talking about the Lakers. They're talking about the Warriors. They're talking about Denver. OKC is very underrated, and they are potentially the best team in the NBA. Of course, Boston and the Cavs got something to say about that, but that's what, that they're in the conversation. Definitely. SGA to me has the MVP on lock. There's nothing that can happen that can take it away from him. I think, he scored 50 in the last. He's coming off a 51-point game. He scored his first 4 50-point games in the last, I think, 16 days, which is insane. So SGA is the MVP lock. Lakers and the Warriors with two legends, two GOATs of the game, have their teams. The Warriors are 6th after the win yesterday against the Knicks, after Curry scored 29. And the Lakers are 2nd. Nobody wants to see either of these teams in the playoffs. I'll tell you why. LeBron and Luka are basically, besides Jokic, the 2 smartest players in the NBA IQ-wise. 2 of the best passers in the NBA. Luka having an argument of being the best passer in the NBA, again, with Jokic. And then Tyrese finally getting to that playing at that level for the last 6 to 8 games at the level that he was last year before the hamstring injury when he had the Pacers up there. So, he's up there with that category as well. But I think it's firmly Luka and Jokic at the top there. They're 8-1 with Jimmy. LeBron and Luka are 7-1 together. They've won 7 in a row. So what I'm saying is nobody wants to see them. Nobody wants to see the Lakers. Nobody wants to see the Warriors. And you're like, well, Velez, but the Warriors, they don't have that much of a roster. The thing is, every single time that Curry has won a championship, he's had a point forward on the team. 2015, Andre Iguodala. 17, 18, you had KD. He works kind of like a point forward. You also had Draymond, but you had KD. I understand. Then you had Draymond as your point forward. You also had Sean Livingston in 2015, which also worked like a point forward. 6'7", can shoot, score in the middies, which is what Butler does. If you allow Steph Curry to be free, to play free, to be covered by not twos or threes, to be covered by point guards, which is what happens when Jimmy's on the floor. You have to allocate your small forward or your shooting guard, which are usually your best defenders on the perimeter, to Jimmy, because if you put any smaller guy on him, it is barbecue chicken curtains. Okay, Jimmy will murder any smaller defender. He'll put him in the mid post, back him down with his power, layup, midi, pivot, foul line, foul line, foul line, foul line, foul line. They're leading the league in getting to the free throw line since Jimmy got there. They're leading the league in free throw percentage since Jimmy got there. The Warriors have never been good at going to the free throw line, and they have 4 championships. That's why nobody wants to see the Warriors, because of Jimmy and Steph's anti-gravity. You got Steph's gravity with movement, and you got Jimmy's gravity in the mid-post, where you can't leave somebody that's not like-sized to him there, because you're going to get murdered. And the ancillary pieces, I still think Trace Jackson-Davis has to figure out. Kuminga's coming back. I think that Jimmy Butler and Kuminga with Draymond is going to be insane defensively. Offensively, I think they can figure it out. Kuminga doesn't have to be a creator with Jimmy around. He can cut, dunk, be in the dunker spot, run off, set screens for Steph, set screen for Jimmy, pods, Buddy Hield. I think they have a pretty good, they're getting good, and they are gelling at the right time. For the Lakers, they have the best defense in the NBA since Luka got there, which is insane because Luka's not known as a defender. But when you have LeBron on your team and Vando, Reeves is pretty good as well. They don't have a legit big. They have Jackson Hayes. I think that's going to be a problem in the playoffs, but I don't think a problem that they not overcome because of the overwhelming talent with LeBron and Luka. So it's very murky in the West. What are the Rockets going to do? Been playing bad the last 15 games. You got Denver, but MPJ's not really playing at the level he was when they won the championship. But Jamal is, but MPJ is not. Jokic is having damn near his best season. He's not going to win an MVP. And then you have the stragglers. Then you got, what's Memphis going to do? Can Ja stay healthy? Triple J not playing tonight. The Clippers. Minnesota got DiVincenzo and Julius Randle back. Can they figure it out and start building momentum? Ant's playing out of his mind lately, but of course you need a team. So to me, the West is very murky and exciting. The East, it's literally Cavs, Boston, Bucks. Other than that, the Knicks, I don't think got it. The Pacers, I don't think got it. The Heat don't got it. Atlanta don't got it. The Bulls don't got it. Like, Magic have a horrible offense. The only thing that keeps them afloat is the defense. And the Detroit Pistons are just too young. They're just too young. So that's my 2 cents on the NBA right now. We can go through the standings real quick. We'll go through the standings. Cleveland, 8 games up on Boston. That's done. Then you have New York, Milwaukee. I think that third spot's pretty much done too because Milwaukee's 15.5 games back of number 1 and New York is 11 games back. So that's already a separation there. Then you have 15.5 Milwaukee, 15.5 Indy, 16.5 Detroit. And that's it. 7 to 10, that's where it's going to stay because Detroit has built a 6-game lead on the 7th spot, Miami. Miami has a 2.5-game lead on the 8th spot, Orlando. Orlando has a 0.5-game lead on Atlanta, and Atlanta has a 5-game lead on a 4-game lead on Chicago. So it's pretty much set. It's pretty much set. Boston to New York might change, maybe if they get better, but I don't think Boston's going to drop that many games. Milwaukee maybe get to New York, but I don't think so. So I think that's pretty set. The only thing that can change is 4, 5, and 6. That's it. 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 and 8. 8 and 9 can switch. I think 10 is done. They have a 3.5-game lead on Brooklyn. For that 10th seed, so I think that's done. In the West, number 1 seed is basically clinched. 10.5 games up is OKC over the Lakers. The Lakers and Denver are right there. 10.5, 11. Half a game between 2 and 3. And a game is Memphis at 12 behind. Houston's at 13.5. So 3 games behind the Lakers for number 2. So it's still in play. Golden State 16.5 back, so 6 games out of the 2 spot. Can they get to the Rockets? If the Rockets keep playing basketball, they can possibly get there because they've been playing really well. They're 8-2 in their last 10. And so are the Lakers. They've won 7 in a row, 8-2 in their last 10. OKC's 8-2 in their last 10. Denver's 7-3. The Memphis 3-7, and Houston's 5-5. Minnesota is just half a game behind Golden State. They're 4-6 in the last 10, though. Sacramento, half a game behind Minnesota, 7-3 in the last 10, winning 4 in a row. The Clippers went from 6 to 9, 18 games back, a full game behind Minnesota, 4-6 in their last 10. And Dallas scraping by, just holding on to a pretty 4-game lead over Phoenix in that 10th spot at 5-5. They might lose it, though. No Kyrie, no AD. They need AD to come back. And Portland's kind of playing. They're 5-5 in the last 10. I thought they were playing better. They're 22.5 games back. I think it's too much to get to that 10th spot. So that's the standings. The stats, Shea's still averaging 33, 32.6 basically. Giannis is 31. Jokic 29. Anthony Edwards 27. KD 27. Trae Young 12 assists. Jokic with 10 assists. Cade Cunningham with 9 assists. Halliburton with 9 assists. Harden with 9 assists. Curry making 4.4 threes a game. Anthony Edwards 4.1. Malik Beasley 4. LaMelo 3.9. Brandon Miller hasn't played in 2 months. 3.9. Sabonis still averaging 14 rebounds. Anthony Towns 13. 13 by Jokic. Zubac 13. Walker Kessler 12. Victor's still leading the league in blocks, and that's not going to change. He's at 3.8. Walker Kessler's at 2.3. Dyson Daniels still leading the league in steals at 3 a game. And that's about it, guys. Other than that, Roki Sasaki, debut in spring training, absolutely electric. 5Ks, 47% strikeout rate, went 7 innings, looked incredible. 99-mile-per-hour fastball right out the gate, nasty splitter, one of the best in the world as advertised. The guy is absolutely disgusting, as we thought. As a 23-year-old, and I think that that just shows that the Dodgers if you have the Dodgers on your schedule, look at the pitching rotation. Of the first 6 guys, you walk to your team and say, hey, guys, we have a 3-game series with the Dodgers, and every guy in that locker room is going to be like, oh, man. Especially the bad teams. The bad teams are like, we might get no hit one of these games. You're talking about Yamamoto, 25 years old, phenom. 23 years old, Sasaki, phenom. And then you got Blake Snell, 2-time Cy Young winner. Tyler Glasnow, Cy Young, one of the Cy Young favorites. Shohei Ohtani, possibly a Cy Young favorite. That's without mentioning Clayton Kershaw, Tony Gonsolin, Trevor May, Bobby Miller, Gavin Stone. And that's not even mentioning the bullpen. Trinan, Tanner Scott, Vesia. Like, it don't stop, bro. It does not. Phillips, it does not stop. With that pitching staff, you are screwed. Point blank, period. Screwed. Any series. Done. They don't even have to throw out their best rotation. They could go, They could go Snell, Sasaki, Gonsolin. Glasnow, Ohtani, Yamamoto is insane. So is Sasaki, Yamamoto, Ohtani. That's insane. Like, you are screwed, okay? You are effed up, okay? When you face the Dodgers during the season, and of course in the playoffs, of course. Other than that, I love you guys. Thank you for all the support. We're gonna keep pumping out episodes. Thank you for your patience. I love you guys so much. God bless you guys, and I leave you all with the outro.
Que todos quieren ser el chamaquito que no puede